orchids wilting, let's miraculously revive them. Today, I'll share how to replant and restore wilted diseased orchids. With just a few simple steps, you'll see your orchid regain its vitality, sprout new roots, and prepare for the next spectacular flowering season. As you can see, some orchids are wilting, with severely damaged leaves. Upon closer observation, I noticed a lot of bacteria and mold accumulating inside the orchid. The disease usually spreads from the top of the orchid downwards, and it spreads very quickly. With severely damaged leaves like these, I had to remove them and dispose of them far away. Absolutely no part of the plant should be left in the garden to prevent further spread. Next, I check the growing medium. Once the medium is infected, the orchid roots cannot recover. Therefore, I completely removed the old growing medium from the plant. And here, you can clearly see, the root system is almost entirely rotten and damaged. These roots are no longer able to nourish the plant. Keeping them would only worsen the disease. At this point, it's necessary to remove all the damaged roots and rotten leaves. Next, I took out my scissors and began trimming the damaged roots. These orchids had shriveled, weak, and rotten roots, so I completely removed the damaged roots to prevent the spread of disease and lighten the burden on the plant. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like and subscribe buttons to support me and so you don't miss any orchid care tips. It's great to have you as a companion on this journey. After dealing with the roots, I moved on to the flower stalks. I also cut off these stalks, not keeping them. While cutting, I carefully checked the top. There was still a living bud there, so I gently peeled it off to examine it. The lower part was completely damaged, so I cut it all off, including the dry, shriveled parts. The most important thing at this stage is to be neat, clean, and decisive. Only then will the orchid have a chance to revive. I set the plant aside, preparing for the next stage of treatment and recovery. Next, I rinsed the orchid with clean water. I rinsed it just enough to wash away all the old soil, bacteria, and any remaining dirt on the stem and roots. Besides English, we now have voiceovers in French, German, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Japanese, Hindi, and Indonesian. To help you understand the content more easily, listen in your preferred language by opening the video and clicking on the settings gear icon to select the appropriate audio language. After rinsing, I let the plant air dry, preparing it for the next step to help it recover. Next, after thoroughly cleaning the plant, I took out a razor blade. This step required decisiveness and carefulness. The old, rough cuts were trimmed cleanly with a single stroke, ensuring a smooth, clean surface. I did this to prevent water from seeping back inside, avoiding infection and stem rot. In some places, the old wounds were almost healed. but the underside still showed jagged cuts, so I lightly trimmed them again to make them smooth. Once all the cuts were smooth and neat, I set the plant aside. At this point, the plant was ready for the next stage in its recovery process. Next, I prepared a container to mix the disinfectant solution for the plants. For this step, I used cinnamon powder, a very familiar yet extremely effective ingredient. Cinnamon has natural antibacterial and antifungal properties, and it also stimulates the orchid's recovery and growth. I took a teaspoon of cinnamon powder. Then, I added about 500 milliliters of hot water, or half a liter of boiling water. The hot water will help the cinnamon's essence dissolve and maximize its effectiveness, preparing it for use on the orchids in the next step. After adding the cinnamon powder, I stirred it well until it dissolved completely in the water. Then, I covered it and let it steep for about an hour. After about an hour, I opened the lid and saw that the cinnamon had completely dissolved, and all the essential oils and essences from the cinnamon had seeped into the water. At this point, I filtered out the sediment, keeping only the clear liquid. Thus, I had the cinnamon-based nutrient solution ready to disinfect the orchid plant and help it recover and grow healthier. Next, I took my orchid out to begin caring for it. I took a soft cotton ball, lightly dampened it with the prepared cinnamon water, and wiped each leaf. When wiping the top of the leaves, dirt and mold were cleaned away. Turning the underside up, I wiped more thoroughly to remove any patches of fungus and bacteria that often reside there. After wiping, the orchid leaves were cleaner, drier, and significantly free of bacteria and mold. Next, I took out a container. Then, I gently placed the entire orchid root system into the container. Next, I added the cakey cuttings as well, so that everything would be treated at once. Once everything was in place, I poured the prepared cinnamon water into the container. At this point, both the orchid roots and cakey cuttings were soaked in cinnamon water, absorbing nutrients and natural antibacterial properties. I soaked them for about 30 minutes, without rushing. Next, I took an aloe vera leaf. Aloe vera is rich in vitamin C, vitamin E, and natural minerals, which help the orchid regenerate cells and recover faster after damage. I sliced the aloe vera into thin pieces, then chopped them finely to allow the nutrients to be easily released. On the Blissful Garden channel, you can also find many ways to make homemade organic fertilizers from familiar kitchen ingredients. These are not only cost-effective, but also help plants grow sustainably. Next, I took a small container and put all the cut aloe vera into it. Then, I poured in about 500 milliliters of water, or half a liter of clean water. Next, I took out the blender put all the aloe vera in, and blended it until smooth. When the aloe vera is crushed into a liquid, the nutrients are extracted more easily and the orchid absorbs them faster. Next, I took out a container and began filtering out the sediment from the aloe vera. Filter out the sediment to prevent clogging of the plant stomata during care. After filtering, the sediment is discarded, and what I get is a cup of nutrient-rich aloe vera juice. Next, I used banana gel, a type of gel I've made quite a while ago and always keep on hand for plant care. I took exactly 1 teaspoon, equivalent to about 30 milliliters. Not much, just enough for optimal plant absorption. I mixed the banana gel with the aloe vera juice and stirred it well. Then, I let it sit for about 15 minutes. Just wait a little while, and the aloe vera juice and banana gel will completely dissolve, creating a very smooth, nutrient-rich solution, exactly what the orchid needs to recover and promote strong root growth. Next, I took the orchid out of the cinnamon water container where it had been soaked. By now, the plant had been thoroughly disinfected, removing mold quite effectively. I then removed the keiki seedling cuttings. After that, I took a soft cotton cloth and carefully wiped the keiki cuttings clean, then wiped the entire orchid again. After wiping, I set the plant aside, preparing for the next care step. I took a soft cotton pad, soaked it evenly with the prepared nutrient solution, and wiped the orchid again. I carefully wiped each leaf to remove dust and dirt, and to help open the stomata, allowing the nutrients to penetrate deep into the plant's cell walls. After wiping, I prepared another container and poured the aloe vera gel and banana extract mixture into it. Then, I placed the entire orchid in, ensuring the roots and the keiki plantlet were completely submerged. I let the plant soak for about 25 minutes. Next, after about 25 minutes of soaking, I took the keiki cuttings out first. At this point, it was clear that the cuttings had absorbed enough nutrients, looked very fresh, and were starting to grow much healthier. I took a soft cotton pad and gently wiped them clean and dry. Next, I lifted the entire orchid out. By now, the plant had fully absorbed the nutrient. I observed that the orchid's roots had begun to turn green, with plump, young root tips clearly emerging. Next, I took out the cinnamon powder to disinfect the orchid. I lightly sprinkled the cinnamon powder on the areas I had just cut, especially the open wounds, to limit fungal diseases and help the plant recover faster. This way, the orchid was thoroughly disinfected, looked neater, and I felt much more at ease. For wounds that had already dried and healed, I didn't need to treat them further. I just focused on the cuts. At this point, I also noticed the cakey plantlets had started to open, a very good sign for future growth. Next, I prepared a piece of floral foam. I took a plastic cup, washed it thoroughly to use as a temporary pot. Then, I placed the cup upside down, imprinted the bottom of the cup onto the floral foam, and cut along the outline. After cutting, I tested it to ensure the foam fit snugly into the bottom of the cup, neither too tight nor too loose. Once everything fit perfectly, I placed the foam at the bottom of the cup. Next, I used clean filtered water and poured it into the cup, just enough to cover the bottom, not too much. The purpose is to create humidity, not to waterlog the plant. Then, I placed my orchid cutting into the cup and gently inserted it into the foam at the bottom. This method allows water from the bottom of the cup to gradually seep up into the foam, keeping it consistently moist. Then, I took the lid with pre-drilled ventilation holes and gently placed it on top. At this point, the entire orchid pot resembled a miniature greenhouse, helping to retain moisture very well while still allowing air circulation. During the care process, I observed the water level below, adding filtered water when it was low, just enough to cover the bottom of the pot. Next, I chose a pot with very good drainage holes to plant the orchid. By this time, the wounds on the plant had dried and healed completely, so I felt confident in transferring it to the new pot. I took a metal rod, bent it into a U shape and fixed it into the pot to keep the plant upright. Which is both aerated and environmentally friendly. I poured the pine bark in little by little, covering the base of the plant evenly to give the roots good breathing space. The growing medium had to be thoroughly treated to remove mold before planting, otherwise disease could infect the roots and cause illness. After planting, I used clips to secure the orchid stem and gently patted around the base to stabilize the growing medium. The plant was now safely in the pot, ready to move on to a new stage of recovery and growth. Next, I covered the pot with a thin layer of moss to retain moisture. This moss helps the orchid root stay moist, allowing the plant to recover and grow stronger. At this point, I've finished preparing a new orchid pot. During this initial stage, I placed the plant in a shady, well-ventilated area with gentle sunlight to allow it to gradually adapt and establish itself. Regarding daily care, I misted the leaves and growing medium lightly every 3 days to keep the plant moist, avoiding overwatering. As for fertilizer, I waited about a month until the plant had stabilized, before fertilizing twice a month to ensure even and healthy growth. After that, during this period, I focused solely on watering and misting the plants with clean filtered water every 3 days. This ensured the roots were always sufficiently moist, allowing them to gradually recover and begin to grow healthier. As for fertilizer, I only added it once every 14 days, twice a month, and I rotated the nutrients to ensure the plant absorbed them evenly and avoided shock. Finally, I placed the plants in a shady, well-ventilated location in the garden with gentle morning sunlight, absolutely avoiding direct, harsh sunlight. And after exactly 3 weeks, I was truly delighted to see my orchid revive. From a plant that seemed beyond repair, a new shoot has now sprouted, a truly beautiful sight. The leaves have turned green again, and the plant is much healthier and more vibrant. After 3 weeks of persistent care, the root system has started to show clear signs of activity. The thick, white-green root tips have emerged, indicating the plant is recovering well. All of this comes from consistent, gentle, and dedicated care. Not only the roots, but a new shoot has also emerged, the clearest sign that the plant has truly come back to life. An orchid that I initially thought was hopeless has finally revived so strongly. I continued to observe and care for the plant, and here, this cutting has also yielded results. It has sprouted another new shoot. Depending on the plant, a healthy plant will have a larger shoot, while a weaker one will have a smaller one. But as long as a shoot has emerged, it's a success. Watching the orchid grow day by day like this, it's truly worth the patience. And then, I continued to make fertilizer to care for my orchids using the same formula I shared earlier. This formula is very simple, just aloe vera and banana. But I saw the results clearly every day. I took a spray bottle, put the aloe vera and banana solution in, and lightly misted the leaves to keep them moist. When spraying, I sprayed evenly on both sides of the leaves so the plant could absorb the nutrients more easily. With this method, the orchids grew healthier, their leaves were noticeably greener and fuller. After that, I continued to spray the entire orchid plant in the growing medium, watering both the leaves and the roots to ensure the plant received sufficient nutrients. I only misted lightly, not soaking, the purpose being to maintain moisture and nourish the plant gradually. After spraying, I put the plant back in its original place. Observing the water in the tray, I saw that it had run low, so I added a little filtered water to maintain stable humidity for the plant. As soon as I see the water level drop, I add more immediately, preventing the plant from drying out. For this orchid, after misting, I lightly water the base and roots, just enough to keep them moist, so the roots continue to function and the plant grows evenly. After watering, I take both pots back to the garden, placing them in their usual spots so the plants can settle into their environment and grow naturally. After another month, I was truly delighted to see this orchid again. The roots had grown vigorously, spreading out extensively, and the plant was now fully stable. Looking closely, I could see clusters of healthy, young roots, their tips plump and protruding all over the rim of the pot, a sign that the plant had adapted well to the care in its natural environment. Thanks to my consistent and patient care, the orchid had recovered significantly, developing according to its natural growth rhythm. The basal shoots were also growing very quickly, thick and strong, with a mix of old and young roots, indicating the plant was in its prime. After just another month, the orchid was completely different, healthier, more beautiful, and full of life. And the next step is to plant this orchid in a pot, beginning a new, more stable and long-lasting growth phase for the plant. Next, I started transplanting my orchid into a new pot. A pot with good drainage and aeration holes to keep the roots dry and prevent waterlogging. The potting mix I used was pine bark, and I had thoroughly treated and disinfected it before planting, so I was completely reassured. First, I placed large pieces of pine bark at the bottom of the pot to create aeration, allowing for quick drainage and good root respiration. Then, I placed the orchid in the center of the pot, adjusting it to stand upright, and gently spread pine bark around it, just enough to secure the plant without damaging the roots. Finally, I added a layer of moss to the surface of the pot to retain moisture. This moss helps maintain stable moisture for the roots, stimulating new root growth and promoting healthy, even development. So, the orchid has been planted, its roots are protected, well moistened and ready to enter a new growth phase. Looking at the emerging root tips, I'm really hoping for a healthy and beautiful orchid in the near future. In the next section, I'll return to daily plant care, simple tasks that determine the plant's health. I use clean water, misting the leaves every 3 days to maintain moisture for both leaves and roots. This prevents the plant from drying out, ensuring the roots have enough moisture for vigorous growth and development. In parallel, I water the roots with clean filtered water, also every 3 days. I water directly onto the roots and growing medium, just enough to keep it moist. Avoiding waterlogging, simply keeping it moist is enough for the plant to thrive. Regarding fertilizer, I fertilize twice a month. I supplement with natural fertilizer once a week. I usually soak the growing medium until it's sufficiently moist, allowing the roots to absorb nutrients gradually, preventing the plant from being shocked. During this period, I place the plant in a shady, well-ventilated area with gentle sunlight. There, the plant photosynthesizes naturally, growing according to its environment's rhythm, making it very resilient and healthy. If I continue to care for it patiently like this, I believe that before long, this orchid will repay me with a truly beautiful flowering season, a season worthy of all the care I've put in. I hope this video helps you better care for your orchids at home. If you find it helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more simple and natural orchid care tips. In the next video, I will reveal a new method to revive care for orchids, helping them sprout roots and bloom incredibly quickly.